Okay, so before we can learn more about programming, we need to learn a little bit more about the island. The first thing we need to look at is how the island is set up. If you notice that you start right here, it says 0, 0. The island is in a grid, okay? And the grid is 24 rows by 24 columns. So we have 24 rows. If you go all the way down, this is 24 rows by 24 columns. Now the rows are numbered from 0 to 23, starting in this top corner. So in that top corner, we start with 0, 0. And then in the bottom corner, this very bottom corner, it's 23, 23. So the thing that we really need to get in our heads and remember is that computers start counting at 0 when we're talking about locations. Okay, so this island is a 24 by 24 island. The top corner is 0, 0, and the bottom corner is 23, 23. Okay, now the locations for the cells are represented in row column. So if I put my cursor anywhere on here, then I know that I'm in row 1, column 10 is where this is telling me it's located. So this would be row 0, column 10, and this is row 1, column 10. Okay, very important that you remember that. It's always row, column. Okay, now anytime we put our mouse anywhere on the island, of course, we can look in the cursor location and it's going to tell us where we're at. So if we ever forget, we can always put our cursor and we know that we're starting at 0, 0 and it goes through 23, 23. Now, remember in the last video, I showed you how to make some changes to the island. So if I want to completely clear off this island, I can just click on the clear island layout. Once the island's clear, then we can go in and change how the island looks. So if I want to add some plants, I can click on plants. If I want to add a couple of nets, I can add some nets if I want the water. And then once I've changed the island to the way I want it to look, then I would just come up here and say either save as or save if I want to change the island name so that I get the island the way I want it. So I'm going to click clear again, and if you're following along on the website, we're at the part where it says create a new world. So there's an image and I'm going to create that world. First thing we're going to do is put some water on all 4 corners. We're just basically taking off 4 green spots. And then we are going to add a row of nets. And the nets are going to go down to row 10. So we can just start right here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And, oh, but I'm on water. So I'm going to click that 1 water. Ooh, I'm going to put it back. Find my 10 again. 10. And I'm going to go across with some nets. Then I am going to get some flowers, and the flowers are starting at column 9, and we're going to come down with flowers. Let's see, take that one off, take that one off. Now we need some water, and we're going to put in some water. Oh, nope, not there, right here. And now my island looks like the island on our website. So if I have this island, I'm going to go ahead and I want to save this island over the island that we had before. So I'm going to click save. So now this is my world1.jev island. Okay. Now, some things about saving islands or code. Anytime you want to save an island or save code, it is very, very important that you follow the naming conventions. There are rules to how you save an island. You always want to start with a letter of the alphabet. It is best to start with a capital letter. Never use dash, star, slash, backslash, or any of the special characters. You can use an underscore. You never use a space in the name of the island, or in the name of your source code. So you don't want to use a space. And what that does is, if you type in my world and leave a space, Giroux may let that slide, but when we get to Java, that's not going to be good. So please make sure that you read over the naming conventions inside our website and go over it. Make sure that you understand. Always start with a letter. You can use a number. Do not put a number first. It won't work. No dashes. You can use an underscore. We call it camelback when you use a capital letter for the first word and a capital letter for the second word. But make sure you go over the convention of naming and how to do that. Okay? Now, if you are coming back to this video and you have not opened the world1.jsc source code, maybe you watched the first video, left, and now you're coming back and you're watching the second video. What I want you to do is make sure that you have the source file opened for world1.jsc. And to make sure that you do that correctly, you're going to go to the Open tab. You're going to navigate from your documents to the IDE program folder, then to the Giroux folder. And when you're in here, you're going to change this from all files to Giroux source code. Click on that and click open, and that'll open up the code if you don't already have it open. So the first thing we want to do is look at how we have Giroux instantiated. The first thing is, it says Giroux Bob equals new Giroux. Let's go ahead and run that on the island that we currently have. So let's do it stepwise. We're just going to click on do the first step. It says saving source code, compiling, stepping, and I'm going to hit the step again. Oh, look! Looks like there's a problem. It says instantiation error, Bob started in the water. So what that tells me is that Bob cannot be in water. Okay, our Giroux cannot swim. So we're going to rewind this, and we are going to change this from Giroux Bob equals new Giroux. We're going to see right here, we're going to start our Giroux at 2.2. So we're going to start our Giroux right here, solidly on the island. So we're going to click here. I'm going to put 2, 2. Now, that tells me that I have more than one way to start our Giroux. I can start our Giroux Bob with Giroux Bob equals new Giroux with just parentheses and nothing in the parentheses, or I can give my Giroux Bob a location. Okay, so our default is parentheses with nothing in it, which means he starts at 0, 0, and then anything after that, that is going to be an added constructor. Okay, so our default is 0, 0, and now we're going to put him at 2, 2. All right, so now if we change that and we run it again, we should not get an instantiation error because he should start exactly on the island where we put him. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to click step again, and look, there he is. He is solidly on the island and he is not going to be in the water. So now let's click again. So he's going to turn. He just turned, and now we're going to have him hop 3 times. And there. Now the program's done. So this red button right here is telling us that we can stop our program. If we don't stop it, we click this again, then we get program complete. Now if we are running our program and we're using the step-by-step and we click on stop, that allows our it says program stop by user. We can rewind and begin again, or we can continue where we stopped. Okay, so we saw that our Giroux Bob could start at 2, 2. Let's start him someplace else and see how that works. Let's go down here and put him at 3, 8. Okay, so we're going to start him at 3, 8. And how about we look at changing the number of hops? So maybe put 2 right here. He's going to hop 2, then he's going to turn right, and maybe hop, let's see, let's have him hop 5. Okay, so we're going to run this again. We're just going to step by step it. Step. Okay, so he hopped 2. He's right at the flowers. He's going to turn up. He hopped over the flowers, not a problem. We're going to turn, and now he's going to hop again, and he's in the water. So this is called a logic error. Logic errors mean that there's a problem with the way your code is written. Not the way that not that there's a problem with how it was written, but it's a problem with when it executes, that it doesn't execute correctly. We don't want Bob to hop into the water, so we need to fix that. So let's go back up here, and we're going to change this from 2. We're going to rewind it. Okay, let's run him again, starting at 3, 8. He's going to start at 3, 8. He's going to hop on the flower. Doesn't appear to be any problems with him hopping on a flower. He's going to hop 5. He hops down. He doesn't fall into the water. He looks good. And now the program is complete, and we're done. Okay, so let's see what happens if he hops on one of these nets. Let's look at that. So let's change him from starting at 3, 8 to maybe, let's see, let's try 10, 2. So we're going to say 10, 2, and we're going to run it. Ah, look. Instantiation error, Bob started in a net. So Bob can't start in a net. We know that that's going to be a problem. So let's go back. We're going to rewind this. If I stepped it step by step, whether I run it continuously or a step by step, either way, run it, tells me I'm good, and then it tells me I'm bad. Okay, so let's start him a little bit up from here. So we're going to say, let's go to 8, 2. We're going to run him. So there he is. He started at 8, 2. So then we're going to turn right. Okay. And then it says hop 5. Hopping 5 should have gotten him over the net, but it didn't. It stopped him on the net. So that's also a logic error. Bob is trapped in the net. So if he gets trapped in a net, that's also a problem, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so to go back over what we've learned so far, we know that we have 2 constructors, Jeru, Bob, or Sue, or Sally, or whatever we want to name our Jeru, equals new Jeru, and we have Jeru, the name of the Jeru, Bob, Sally, Sue, whatever we decide to name it, equals new Jeru at a row and then column location. So we have 2 constructors. We have our default constructor and then a constructor where we have our row and our column.